Welcome, everyone. It's Wednesday, and we are here with Inside Music Curation. The team at Feed Media Group puts these together to give you a little inside look on what music curators do, how we help businesses, and talk about a variety of themes around music curation. Today, as the holiday season approaches us, we are talking about holiday music and holiday playlists, and why the two may not always be exactly the same. And I've got my esteemed colleagues here. I've got Stens, writer and curator. Hello, Stens.
Hello.
Claire McConnell, music curator as well. Hello, Claire. And Pepe Verde is joining us today. He's our content operations manager, and I think hands down wins for person with the most personal holiday playlists.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, I have a few.
So let's dive in. As I kind of alluded, holiday playlist, holiday music, sometimes they're one and the same, sometimes they're not. I'd love to hear from you guys in your experience as you have curated for businesses and sites. What makes a good holiday playlist to you? Who wants to start?
I'll start. For me, I consider myself a fan of holiday music. So I'm not one of those anti people. And so I like a good mix of like classic and more contemporary stuff mixed in with some sort of instrumentals and things that sort of feel wintry or seasonal, or are associated with other like memories I have of past holidays. And sort of a mix of all of those things that makes sort of for a festive and warm and kind of, building on the nostalgia that comes along with the season.
Awesome. Pepe, tell me about how nostalgia plays into your holiday playlists.
Oh, I like to have sets of songs that are like classic Christmas music. Holiday music, and also have like a palate cleanser, so to speak. Have current bands doing holiday music, and sometimes I do combination playlists so that there's a bit of everything, and you don't get, because if what I find is that when you put together playlists that are too monothematic, after a while it's like, can we turn this? So it's good to keep the listeners satisfied and entertained.
Yeah, definitely. We just got a question from someone on the team. When is it too soon to start playing holiday music?
Stirring up some controversy over there. It's a
very personal question.
We were just talking about that, Claire. What were you just sharing that fun anecdote about Mariah Carey?
Yeah. So she has definitely become even more so. It seems to grow every year, this queen and beacon of ushering in the holiday season. And on Halloween, she put out a video on Instagram where she walks out of her house in this red glittery dress. There are 3 pumpkins on her front porch, and the pumpkins say, "It's not time." And then she smashes the knot with like this candy cane baseball bat. So according to Mariah Carey, November 1st, we are in it.
That's awesome.
Gotta milk that cow, all I want for Christmas is you, like get the money going,
Yeah, exactly.
We were talking about how there used to be either a written or unwritten rule, at least in the United States, because we were also talking about the distinction of, we have Thanksgiving here, but obviously that's not celebrated the world over. But at least in the States, it seemed like there was, again, a little bit of a rule that, after Thanksgiving, you could turn on the Christmas music, at least or holiday music, in a retail setting. But it definitely feels like that's getting drawn back, earlier and earlier. And that convention is kind of fallen by the wayside. It might be similar to the convention of wearing white before, Memorial Day or whatever. I don't know. But anyways, I think related to Pepe's point, so in answer to the question, it really depends on the setting and the context, which we'll return to a lot. Context is key, but also personal preference. Just a quick point on Pepe's is that we find, staying on retail for a minute, we find that a lot of retailers, because we work with a variety of companies, they don't prefer to have it all holiday music in their holiday playlists, because they don't want to, send their holiday celebrating customers rushing for the door or turning off the app. So usually it's about 3/4 holiday music and about 1/4 current up-tempo pop hits, things that mesh well, things that'll give you that palate cleanse that Pepe referred to. I think that's really important. And so we always think about like who's the end user and how much do they really want in the mix of holiday music. And then, as we'll talk about more at length, holiday music covers a massively wide swath of music these days. So there's something for everyone.
I think that's really interesting. I think you can have your traditional holiday music. You have the holiday music that's being put out by current bands in across genres. And then you have completely not holiday music, but relevant, upbeat pop songs sprinkled in. I think that that's something that people might not automatically assume to do in their holiday playlists. Do you guys have any tips? You guys are constantly working with, hot pop music for fitness customers and others. Like who should be included in the holiday playlist this year as far as, non-holiday pop songs go?
Well, I know I just fielded I talked at length, but I think I looked at actually some of the pop hits that have been, really big this last year. And I was thinking about this in this context, because we're going to have to start doing this for our customers. And I'd say, if people aren't sick of it, Blinding Lights definitely fits. The Weeknd's, Blinding Lights. I was thinking of BTS's Dynamite. What else? Miley Cyrus's Midnight Sky. The Levitating remix of Dua Lipa with The Baby has, she wrote it when she was apparently eating a ton of donuts. So it's got that energized quality that you want for the holidays. And then, if you want to really throw in something that's really different or stir it up, I'd say My Ex's Best Friend. Just trying to think of, where you could go with today's hits. A lot of them are still kind of sad bangers or whatever, or things you might not want in there, but some of those would probably work well.
Claire, what do you think?
Yeah, you can also, obviously for a more commercial purpose, upbeat is definitely the way to go. I do think there's an interesting sort of like subgenre of like sad Christmas that I think can appeal to some people, or whether that's sort of like, some indie bands who, their sound is just like a little bit darker, a little bit more moody, and sort of like fits that winter sort of feel. I know bands like Fleet Foxes kind of get that reputation. So you can also, kind of go that direction of like, it can feel, a different side of the season and appeal to a different group that way too.
More wintry.
Yeah.
I like that. We were having the wintry conversation. I think Bon Iver came up. I think maybe even James Blake comes into that. Those kind of just, moody, wintry sounds again. I wouldn't automatically think to put them on a holiday playlist, but I can definitely see how you could interweave those and really set the tone. Because it's not just about, celebrating the season. It's about setting the tone. And that really depends on where you are and what mood it is you're trying to convey.
Yeah, ambiance.
Yeah. Then for some scenarios, too much pop music might be a bit on the nose. So sometimes they need something that's more background music, and in that sense, resorting to classical religious music. There's a lot of stuff to be found there that can fit if you mix it with jazz renditions of classic carols or stuff like that, and that can be a very good source for wordless, lyricless music, which obviously is not for if you're trying to have for a retailer store or stuff like that. But for example, it might be good for a restaurant.
Yeah, the acapella stuff is also big.
Acapella or instrumental, kind of going.
Yeah, instrumental. But like Pentatonics, I think even does a like exclusively Christmas tour. And so they've, sort of drawn out themselves in that niche as well as event around the holidays that people would want to attend to feel in the spirit, and they're able to cover a lot of music that people feel celebrates that.
Yeah, and I think the type of music you were both talking about, that kind of wintry, whether it's more modern interpretations like some of those indie rock or indie folk artists, or more classical traditional. I grew up in a family with just basically all traditional, Christmas music. So there wasn't a lot of like secular pop music. So I'm very familiar with that. So I think not only thinking about the business context where those work well, as you've said, in restaurants or other places where it's more, you want it to be really in the background, but your own personal gathering, at home, like you as a individual person, it's fun, to make playlists. And so thinking about what you really want to have, while you're cooped up indoors all day with your family, cooking dinner and stuff, like you might just not want to have like 4 on the floor bangers the whole time. You're going to get exhausted. So
Right.
some of this variety is really gratifying and appropriate for those indoor gatherings that you might have too. And I think, Pepe, I'd love to hear more about these famous playlists, holiday playlists. Like, talk us through some of them, because I think there's a lot of places you can go with holiday music, and I think you've already you've really hit that out of the park a lot already.
Well, thank you. I guess it goes back to when I moved to America from Spain, and I realized how much holiday music you guys have throughout the history of pop music. Suddenly, in Spain, we do have carols, of course, but there's usually just traditional stuff and a few songs here and there, not a lot. Here is like I would find the Beach Boys Christmas album, the Elvis holiday album, like, wow, amazing. And so it kind of started like that, and I guess the biggest classic of them all, at least in our house, is the Phil Spector Christmas album, which is we feel like Christmas doesn't start until that album is on, and I have a couple of vinyl copies of it, thankfully. And but yeah, so then when I was introduced to this wealth of holiday music, then it's like, oh wait, so instead of having just the one CDR back in those days, before we did playlists, which was burning a CD for the family room stereo, instead of having just one with all the songs that I could put together, I have so many that now I can start. Let's do a current rock holiday CD. Let's do a jazz for dinner, and so it started like that. And so yeah, I have like Soul Christmas. Actually, I found an album called Soul Christmas back in the day with all the classic Stax soul singers, and yeah, it's like it's not. It's funny because I can't say that I'm a big fan of Christmas more than anyone else, but I do have a special place in my heart for holiday music, for sure.
That's great. And where, like, for folks that, also didn't know that there's, Soul Christmas, like, where are some good places to find these tracks? Like, how do you go looking for genre specific holiday music?
I mean, it's literally everywhere. You just have to know how to find them. I find myself Googling holiday music and starting with some playlist that a blog might put together. And one of my tricks always is like I will either start a Pandora station based on that and then see what Pandora comes up with, or put a short playlist in Spotify and see what the suggestions are. Going there, also see what these compilation albums might have tips of. Oh, look, they cover this song. Oh, and then of course there's always friends coming, like, have you heard this one? Oh my god. And there's lots of room for discovery. It's fun.
That's great. Claire, tell me a little bit about some of the curation that you've done around holiday channels, and how you mix some of the the favorites with some new discovery?
Yeah, I mean, holiday music is a really an obvious uptick when you are working for a streaming service. You can see it pretty clearly in the numbers. People are looking for it. People are listening to it. People can't hide that, oh no, I don't really like it that much, but really they've had it on all day. And so the demand is definitely there. And I think it's both situational and mood in terms of, we would do a lot of reworking of like a jazz dinner party playlist, to make that feel with like sprinkle in some holiday music there, and just sort of generally like family. If you're thinking about the things you're doing around that time, it's, you know, parties, it's being around your family. So taking the sort of music that fits that area and putting some holiday music within that as well as your sort of, dedicated genre-based ones. And really, I think people like the familiarity that Christmas music provides, and there is this sort of like limited time window in which you feel it's appropriate to enjoy, even though that window is widening. So I think all of that sort of creates this demand each year, and people like coming back to it and returning to those feelings.
Yeah, and I think, you know, there's nostalgia not just around the music, but right, like there's a lot of holiday movies and holiday movie soundtracks that affect that. So there's so many different ways you could have nostalgia to music around this time. And I think the insights that you guys have given me as well, I might look at this completely differently next time I want to do a holiday playlist, and maybe not start with the holiday songs, but think about the non-holiday songs that might set the tone that I want, and then kind of go from there, right? Like, what genre am I looking instrumental? Do I want it to be upbeat? Do I want it to be a little more laid back? And I think that's a really interesting way to kind of go about it. How about any favorite? All right, let's go favorite holiday songs.
Well, so I've got a couple. I was just going to quickly point out that I think one of the fun things that anchors into nostalgia and the tradition and family is the joy of sharing, you know, music with your kids in general. And then especially, I feel like the holidays is a great time to stir in some of the older stuff that they might not want, you know, during the rest of the year. Like my son, who's now 7, learned Jose Feliciano's great Feliz Navidad. He came home from nursery school a few years ago and he was thrilled. It was like a new song to him and he just couldn't believe it. And so like one of our favorite songs, which is now my favorite, is this great rendition that Fred Astaire did of Jingle Bells. So that's, you know, these little, and he has a favorite like Frosty the Snowman of Ella Fitzgerald. So it's really fun, joyful time that you can kind of introduce some of the older artists that you might happen to like, you know, or that are part of your holiday tradition. And then there's always the new ones. Like I said, I could easily go on a 5-minute tangent about the history of, you know, Christmas rap songs, and I won't. But my favorite modern song is a surprisingly great Run DMC song, Christmas in Hollis, that they did not phone in, and that is a banger. I mean, it's peak Run DMC, and it's awesome.
Awesome.
I could mention. I already mentioned the Phil Spector album, but within that in particular, I think Darlene Love's rendition of White Christmas is like the inaugural shot that you know, we bring the album up, put that on, and there it goes. Like, you know, you can start writing and stuff. And then on the pop side, I guess my favorite is Sufjan Stevens' "Get Behind Me, Santa," which also brings a lot of memories. And anything by Low, it's funny because it's not the kind of music that you would think lends itself to holiday music, and they have made a tradition out of it. They put out a few new songs every year, and they're always awesome. Little Drummer Boy being a particular favorite.
The Minneapolis band Low, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Very cool.
Yeah, for me, as far as classic, it'd be hard to narrow down singularly, but definitely an album I like playing front to back is the Charlie Brown Christmas album, Vince Guaraldi. Yeah, I think that's got a special place. I think, yeah, it does a good mix on its own of doing that instrumental, a little vocal, like some things that just feel wintry and Christmassy without it being explicitly that. And yeah, a couple classics in there as well. So that one's always a favorite. And then contemporary, I'm actually a really big fan of Casey Musgrave's Christmas album. She has sort of done the impossible in that there's at least 4 original songs on there. And it's so hard to write an original Christmas song, and she does it really well. And it's listenable. It's cheesy in a good way. There's a song with Willie Nelson, a duet that they do called Have a Willie Nice Christmas. And yeah, so she gets to have fun with it, and it feels very much her signature style, but also feels good for the holidays too.
That's awesome. Yeah, I definitely agree, Claire. Like, I have the Charlie Brown Christmas on green vinyl, and it's the first thing that I put on when I tend to wait a little bit more until the week of the holidays. But yeah, that's definitely a favorite for me.
And then I was going to say, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say that, now that we mentioned Charlie Brown, there's a number of movies that bring songs that maybe they're not necessarily specifically holiday music, but they are associated. Like, for example, the Misfits song in the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer movie. Is that the name of the movie?
Island, like the Island of the Misfit Toys and things like that? Yeah.
That one. I don't know why. That makes me feel so good.
Yeah, the original Rudolph, and then also Armando just chimed in Home Alone. Like, it just would not be Christmas if I did not hear the soundtrack to Home Alone, from the like nice instrumental orchestral sections to the part where the little girl's singing in the choir. Yeah, Home Alone and Charlie Brown definitely always hit my list. And then I was just started watching the Shane McGowan documentary the other day, and it reminded me of Christmas in the Drunk Tank. If you guys have ever heard that, that's another one that comes up sometimes for the current pop or left of center holiday music tracks. If you're a Pogues fan.
Sounds good. I'll have to check that one out.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, we're just running up on time. Again, we're talking about creating holiday playlists, holiday music versus other songs that might go in the playlist. These guys are curating music for businesses, for fitness apps, for retail stores. Any, kind of last minute tips for businesses trying to soundtrack their holiday experiences, guys?
Keep it fun.
Sorry, go on.
Said keep it fun. Yeah.
I mean, know who your users are and what their preferences are, and try to match. That's obvious, but I'm just going to put this in here that James Brown did at least 2 Christmas albums, and one of them that I was gifted years ago is just awesome because James Brown is awesome, and I think he literally did not have a single traditional song on there. He was like, I'm just going to friggin' write 8-9 new Christmas songs, and it's like simultaneously amazing and kind of hysterical. It's like, wow, there's like all these millions of songs. Now I'm just gonna write a whole album of Christmas music. Like, amazing.
Yeah, like Santa, go straight to the ghetto. Like, yeah. Those are really fun for sure. And you know what, the thing is, there's so much variety out there. Just try not to play the same classics over and over. There's so much that you can choose from. Don't alienate your clients by playing, I don't know, as much as I love John Lennon's Christmas, Happy Christmas, War is Over, I can only play it once a year because it's overdone. So, yeah.
Pepe, you would know. You've done the work. You've done this to know. Make it from Pepe's lips. There's plenty of holiday music out there.
All right. So keep in mind, have fun. Know your context, know the audience, know the tone that you're trying to create, and go wide because there's lots out there. So you can keep a lot of variety within your holiday playlists. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for taking the time to share your expert advice with us. Thanks to everyone who's tuning in. Hoping you all have a great season with lots of new music. I encourage everyone to go out and find a new holiday song they haven't heard before. There's so much out there. Thanks again. If you want to know more about curating music, check out feedmediagroup.com and learn all about how we're doing this for businesses. Thanks, you guys.
Thanks so much.
Thanks.